Philosophical concepts are not relics of the past, but vital tools for navigating the complexities of our modern world. They provide individuals with the intellectual foundation to make ethically sound decisions, think critically, and engage meaningfully in both personal and societal contexts. In an age marked by change and uncertainty, the relevance of philosophy remains undeniably paramount.
Concept of truth. In the strictest sense, truth is the characteristic of a statement that, either by its intrinsic evidence or by its correspondence to reality, can legitimately claim to a universal consensus. In general, truth obeys the principles of non-contradiction and identity. Truth can be identified by the presence of one or more of the following criteria in the judgment that declares it: intuitive evidence, coherence within the system of propositions to which it belongs, usefulness, approval of a real or ideal community of knowing subjects. However, it is important to note that these criteria are never entirely satisfactory. The classical definition of truth as an adequacy between thought and reality, while it can be difficult to apply in practice, has lost popularity since Kant, in favor of a diversity of approaches. Most of these approaches manifest a certain humility, reducing truth to a linguistically and logically correct way of referring to the realities of the world. Since Aristotle, truth has been perceived as a characteristic of statements rather than of reality. Although the Middle Ages, especially in St. Thomas, distinguished the first truth as it exists in the divine understanding from a second truth that is exclusively human, the attribution of the concept of truth to the real is generally considered inappropriate. Classical philosophers have mostly conceptualized truth as a quality of thought and judgment when they correctly grasp reality, in accordance with certain principles, such as Leibniz's principle of sufficient reason, which states that everything has a cause for its existence and for its nature, or to certain methods, such as Descartes' requirement of evidence, clarity, and distinction. Kant, without fundamentally questioning the definition of truth as adequacy, modified its meaning by shifting the adequacy from the relationship between thought and reality to an internal relation within the subject between knowledge and its a priori conditions. Thus, truth, according to Kant, becomes a characteristic of subjectivity itself in its understanding of a reality that remains unknowable outside the categories of experience. German idealism, whether philosophical, Schelling, Hegel, or literary, Goethe, Schlegel, rejects this reduction of truth by highlighting its own power of affirmation, whether in poetry, religion, or philosophy itself. Nietzsche, for his part, challenges the legitimacy of the concept of truth by considering it as a conventional lie, while maintaining a requirement of probity that makes truth problematic. Bolzano defines truth as the characteristic of a proposition that affirms something as it is. Carnap distinguishes between analytic truths, valid independently of experience, such as mathematics, and truths requiring empirical confirmation. Some analytical currents question this thesis, arguing that a proposition cannot be qualified as true or false in isolation, but must be integrated into a system that contributes to its validity. Quine. Heidegger, on the other hand, considers truth as what reveals itself while remaining hidden in the very existence of the entity, being. The concept of truth, apart from its minimal meaning necessary in logic and in the sciences, is characterized by its imprecision. Many philosophers, especially in contemporary French philosophy, express doubts about the legitimacy of its use in philosophy. On the other hand, others, in the analytic tradition, continue to explore the links between language, meaning, and truth.